Hi everyone. This week I kept coming back to a question that feels both scientific and deeply human. What happens to a home when one person in it is chronically unwell? Because illness rarely stays confined to one person's experience. It shows up in the small details of daily life: who sleeps when, who worries, what gets cooked, how often the windows are opened, how often surfaces are cleaned and using what products, how everyone navigates around each other, and more. Most households are not just families, they are shared biological environments. We may often think of health as something that lives inside one person's body, but at home, bodies are in frequent contact with each other through touch, breath, food, surfaces, bathrooms, bedding, stress, sleep, habits, and the invisible world of microbes. That means the health of one household member may do more than affect that person alone. It may also shape the exposures and routines that influence everyone else's biology. That idea is not as far-fetched as it sounds. Some evidence suggests that people who live together tend to share microbes more than strangers do. Their gut, oral, skin, and environmental microbiomes may become more similar over time. The home itself becomes a microbial ecosystem shaped by who lives there, how they live, what they eat, how often they clean, how much moisture is in the air, and whether anyone is unwell. Gram-negative bacteria generally persist longer on surfaces than gram-positive bacteria, with low temperatures and high humidity improving their survival. Recent research identified silent carriers who unknowingly pass multi-drug resistant E. coli ST131 to household members over extended periods without showing symptoms. The first study in Asia tracing antibiotic-resistant bacteria spread in communities. Meanwhile, indoor bacterial and fungal counts correlate with health outcomes in some studies. Children exposed to high indoor microbial aerosol levels show increased risk of lower respiratory tract infections, while adults report headaches and allergies in office buildings. According to scientists, the high microbial concentrations and diversity may be due to the high number of people living together, reduced ventilation, and high indoor relative humidity. And this makes it one of the most interesting, often overlooked angles, not just person-to-person transmission, but household ecology. In other words, the home is not just where biology happens, it may help shape biology in the first place. Some human studies suggest that people who live together can show more similar immune profiles than unrelated people living separately, pointing to shared residence, shared exposures, and shared microbial ecology as real biological forces. On top of that, the quality of close relationships has been linked to inflammatory markers, which means the emotional life of a household may also leave a mark on the immune system. And then there is smell. Body odor is not just about hygiene. It may reflect skin microbes, inflammation, diet, medications, hormones, and disease state. In other words, smell may act as a biological signal of what is happening inside a person's body. Human brains do not treat body odor as a relevant background noise either. Odor can be processed as socially and emotionally meaningful information, which means repeated exposure may influence attention, vigilance, stress, and mood. And this is where things get especially interesting. Illness can change routines, sleep, cleaning patterns, emotional tone, and the indoor biological environment. The rest of the household may therefore be exposed to a different microbial mix, a different odor environment, and a different stress climate, all of which may feed back into health. And there may be many more biologically interesting pathways that science is only beginning to map. That feedback loop matters. The unwell person may change the household, but the household may also shape the unwell person's symptoms, recovery, and day-to-day experience, while simultaneously influencing everyone else's exposures. And habits are one of the major, often underestimated parts of this shared biology. Parents' eating patterns, food rules, and emotional relationships with food consistently show up in children's diets and weight trajectories, not just through what is served, but through how food is talked about, offered, and used to cope with stress. And this does not stop at parents and children. Over time, shared routines around meals, light, activity, screens, and sleep can cluster within households and families, with downstream links to body weight, metabolic risk, and in some studies, mental health outcomes. And perhaps the most interesting thing is how much we still do not know. It is clear that households matter, but it is still difficult to separate biology from behavior, or the shared environment from the people living inside it. We also do not yet fully understand the two-way nature of this exchange, how much a home shapes a person and how much a person reshapes the home in return. What we do know is that households can concentrate not only strain, but also support, stability, and the kinds of everyday conditions that may help people feel a little more regulated. Better sleep, better air, better routines, better care. And when it comes to behavior, shared patterns and routines may help synchronize a household in ways that are easy to miss if we only think in terms of contagion. Sometimes what spreads is not a disease, but a pattern of living. And that shared biology might be one of those key forces shaping who we are, who we become, and how we heal. What do you think?